All right, let's talk about a word we hear all the time, accessibility. Most of us think we know what it means, things like ramps and special software. But what if I told you that's just scratching the surface? That it's actually about something, something much bigger, for all of us.
So, let's just jump right in with a big question. Seriously, when you hear accessibility, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's features designed for people with permanent disabilities, and that's totally fair. But that's only one tiny piece of a way more interesting and, frankly, more relevant puzzle. Okay, so to really get our heads around this bigger picture, we've got to start by tackling that common idea head-on, the way most of us are taught to see accessibility. The way we usually think about it is, it's like a patch. Something's already built, someone can't use it, so we add a fix. A ramp gets bolted onto a building, a special feature gets coded in later. It's always reactive, always an add-on. Kind of like an afterthought, right?
But here's the thing, that whole patch it later approach, it completely misses the point. So let's flip this on its head. What does accessibility really mean?
This is the real game changer. It's about moving from being reactive to being proactive. So instead of waiting for someone to say, hey, I can't use this, and then trying to fix it, we build it right from the very beginning, thinking about everyone. It's not a feature you add on, it's baked right into the DNA of the thing itself.
And this whole idea, this proactive way of thinking, it has a name. It's called universal design. And the goal is, it's pretty ambitious and awesome. To make stuff that pretty much everyone can use, right out of the box, without needing a bunch of special tweaks or adaptations. This is the heart of what we're talking about today.
So if we're designing for everyone, who exactly is everyone? You might think you know the answer, but I bet it's a much bigger group than you expect.
Let's go back to that classic example, the wheelchair ramp. Super important for someone in a wheelchair, no question. But who else uses it? The parent pushing a stroller, the person dragging a heavy suitcase, the delivery guy with a hand truck. See? You solve a problem for one person, and suddenly you've made life easier for a whole bunch of other people. It's a ripple effect.
So this idea of everyone really falls into three big buckets that go way beyond what we normally think of. We've got temporary issues, situations we find ourselves in, and just, the changes that happen to all of us as we go through life.
First up, temporary impairments. I mean, who hasn't had one of these? You break your arm, sprain your wrist, and suddenly typing on your phone is a nightmare. All of a sudden, that voice-to-text feature isn't just a cool gimmick, it's absolutely essential.
It's a lifeline.
All right, next bucket, situational limitations. This is where you're perfectly able, but your environment gets in the way. Picture this. You're a new parent, finally got the baby to sleep, and you're trying to watch a video. You can't turn the sound on, right? So what do you use? Captions, a feature designed for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, just became a must-have for you in that moment.
Or how about this one? We've all done this. You're outside on a sunny day trying to read your phone, and the glare is just impossible. What do? You crank up the brightness or maybe switch to a high contrast mode. Guess what? That's an accessibility feature, and you just used it without even thinking about it.
And the last bucket is about changing abilities. It's just a fact of life. As we get older, things change. Our eyesight might not be what it used to be. Maybe our hands aren't as steady. So features like being able to make the text bigger or having websites with really simple, clear buttons, they're not just nice to have. They're what allows people to stay connected and independent.
Okay, so it's pretty clear how this helps us as individuals in so many different ways. But the story doesn't end there. For businesses, for governments, for any organization, thinking this way is actually a huge strategic advantage.
And I really want to stress this point. This is so much more than just following the rules or checking a box on a compliance form. This is about seeing that building things accessibly from the ground up is just smarter. It's a forward-thinking strategy with real-world benefits.
I mean, look at what happens when you do this. Yeah, you give everyone equal access, which is huge, but you also just make a better product for everybody. The user experience is smoother. It even makes things more efficient for your own staff. And here's the kicker. A lot of times, solving these complex challenges leads to amazing new ideas you would have never thought of otherwise.
Look, if there's one idea to really let sink in, it's this. Good design is accessible design. They are not separate things, they're the exact same thing. The best, most innovative, easiest to use products out there, they're the ones that were designed for everyone from the start.
So where does all this leave us? It really points to a massive shift in how we think about making anything, really.
The shift is actually pretty simple to say, even if it's hard to do. We need to stop fixing things for a few people after the fact and just start building better things for everyone from the get-go.
And the result of that shift is huge. You get systems and products that are just better. They're easier to use, they're more forgiving, they're more welcoming. And really, at the end of the day, this isn't just about designing a better app. It's about designing a fairer society, one where everyone truly gets a chance to take part.
So I'll leave you with this thought to chew on. Just imagine, what would the world look like if the very first question we asked before building anything was, how do we make this work for everyone? That's not just better design. That's the world we should be aiming for.